Welcome into Press Box Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, along with Luke Jackson and the one and only left-hander, Ross Grimsley. And normally we come to you on Mondays, had something that conflicted last night. Both of my partners were willing to do today. Luke's got to get out to a softball game, but we got a good 30 minutes in us right now to talk some baseball. And we'll tell you that it's brought to you all by A.J. Michaels Heating, AC Plumbing, and Home Performance. Expert and award-winning A.J. Michaels Heating, AC Plumbing, and Home Performance. They're going to improve your home's energy efficiency and comfort levels. The AC season is upon us right now. New rebates and discounts are available. More at A.J. Michaels. And, of course, we thank our friends at the Costas Inn. More on them in a bit. Guys, sad news around Baltimore, and I know, Luke, that you're a little young to remember Dick Hall, but I spent the day yesterday texting back and forth and talking on the phone with Boog, Jim Palmer about Dick Hall. I know you didn't play with him, Ross, but you were here for a number of years, made Baltimore your home, so you got to know Dick Hall pretty well.
Absolutely. No, we spent time together. He was just such a pleasure to be around and to talk to. We would see him occasionally at the Oriole fantasy camp, a while ago. But it was. I didn't realize he was 92 years old.
Yeah.
God, our prayers go out to him and Maria, his wife, and his family. But that was. He is such a special guy, humble person, a great relief pitcher with that funky delivery he had. But it was sad to hear that when I heard it. And
I urge everybody. Jim Palmer told me that he didn't know about this, but he recently found out, might have been 5 years ago, that in an age of Shohei Ohtani, if you Google Dick Hall, Mexican League pitcher hitter, that he led the Mexican League one off season in slugging home runs. So he was
really
a two-way player that none of us knew about, but he had such impeccable control. It was just, I don't know how guys hit him at all, Ross.
I think they brought him in. There was one story, they brought him in, the count was 3-0. And he struck the guy out. But he was just, I can't tell you how nice a guy he was. He was just, like I said, it was just a pleasure to talk to him and just be around him. Also, Stan, I got to mention, Tippy Martinez lost his dad.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he was 97 years old.
Wow, good life, good long life.
We found out about it, and I talked to. I sent Tippy an email and or a text. We played golf with his dad when he was there in Baltimore several years ago, and he was I think he was 90 or 91. He was out there bouncing around.
Yeah,
that was sad. Our prayers go out to Tippy and his family on their loss.
All right. Not so sad news about the Baltimore Orioles. They do go to the Cubs and lose 2 out of 3, but I thought, Luke, the game Sunday was a hugely important game for them.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was a big one as well. And they've done that a few times this year where they really didn't play very well in the first 2 games of the series, and then they bounce back and get back on the right foot in that final game. You think about the Texas series at Camden Yards, and in particular, you think about the Milwaukee series.
Yeah.
Really, for much of that 3rd game in Milwaukee, they didn't look great, and then they figured out a way to get that win in the last one. So that's an important deal because we talk about hitters having great seasons. How do you have a great season as a hitter when you're not going well? You still figure out a way to go 1 for 4, right? And that makes the hot stretches really matter for you. Well, how do you have a great season as a team when you're not going well? You still figure out a way to get 1 out of those 3. Those hot stretches when you win 8 out of 10 really matter. So, and they haven't been swept since Adley Rutschman on the team. So I think
I got to be honest with you. That 1983 team, Ross, that was my first year on the radio. I know you didn't perform for them, but twice during that season, they had 7-game losing streaks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they won the World Series, the championship, AL championship, and the World Series despite that. But Luke makes a great point. If you come back and win 1 out of the 3, you're never going to lose 6, 7 in a row.
I don't see the Orioles doing that. I know everybody, they're just waiting for that, this thing to cave in, but I just don't see them doing it. They got some stoppers in the pitching staff, in starting and in the bullpen. They play. They're always in the game. They're never out of it. The Cubs tried to give them some games and couldn't take it. I was surprised. A couple of games I saw them play, the Cubs defense was awful. They were throwing balls all over the place, and the O's just couldn't take. They stayed close to them. They just couldn't get the job done. But they're always in the games. They win the 1-run games. I think they're 12-8 in 1-run games. So that is a big thing. So yeah, they're fun to watch, and they're playing well.
Ross, I know you're in Florida. You live there, and you try and watch when you can. I don't know if you've seen any of Cole Irvin. I'm not asking Luke because I know his opinion, and his opinion and my opinion diverge. I watched him pretty carefully the last 2 years and liked him as a pitcher. Have you seen enough of him this year? I do admit, and I'm getting texts from people that say, you like this guy? He's batting practice. 3 home runs in 1 inning. That was a putrid performance by Cole. What do you do if you're Cole Irvin, or what do you do with the ball club? I know Luke would probably say, flush him down the toilet, but I saw a pretty redeeming I saw a pretty redeeming pitcher the last couple of years. Is it just that he's performing for a good team and the pressure's on to win games?
He threw strikes, he changed speeds, he averaged over 6 innings an outing last year.
Yeah.
So here you go. I don't know. Is there something physically wrong with him? I don't know, but you have to throw in the way he throws. You have to change speeds. You have to get ahead in the count. You have to throw strikes, or you have to throw pitches that look like strikes, especially when you get ahead in the count. So this is just something that you kind of scratch your head and go into a new team. I don't know. Hopefully he's healthy. I just don't know, but he just doesn't have the command you need throwing the way.
Let me just throw one thing out there, and you're skilled at this because you're both a pitching coach and a pitcher at the major league level. He's got such an easy delivery. Is it possible he's not finishing his pitches? That he's so easygoing that instead of getting to 93, 94, he's at 91, because he's just not finishing hard enough.
I'd never saw him pitch before, so I don't know. I just know he wasn't an overpowering pitcher. So if he tries to throw harder than he's capable of, then you get the John Means situation where he tried to throw harder than he was capable of throwing.
Yep.
And it took him completely out of his game, and he had to go back to what he was doing. Now, I don't know. Are they trying to get him to do different things than he did before, which is a possibility? I don't know. But the guy just doesn't have the command, like I said, that you have to have, especially pitching in
Wrigley Field.
In Wrigley Field, that's a tough place to pitch.
Yeah.
Fenway Park. But in Baltimore, with that left field a little bit deeper, he should be a little more aggressive in the strike zone. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what exactly the problem is, but he's just not the guy that pitched the way he got rewarded, too.
Luke, we opened this brief 2-game series in Tampa. The Orioles right now are the only team in the zip code of the Tampa Bay Rays. We are 5 games behind the Rays, just 3 in the loss column. Mm-hmm. They've played 4 more games than us, so technically we're really 3 games behind them if we can win all 4 of those games in hand that we have right now. Yankees are 10.5 back, Toronto 11.5, Boston 12. Tonight it's Bradish versus Glasnow. Tomorrow at 12:10. I'll remind everybody that tonight is 6:40. Tomorrow is 12:10, Wednesday afternoon. And it's Wells against Taj Bradley. Pretty big series for the O's, though, right, Luke?
Oh, absolutely. Because this is a good chance to see where you are, benchmark to see where you are as a club. And also, you don't want to lose all two and fall farther behind in the standings, because once you want to stay within shouting distance, right? And if Ross, as a player, if you were in second place and you were chasing a team that's playing at a historic pace at home, like the Rays,
Right.
you want to be or at least around that 5-6 game mark, so that you give yourself a chance in the second half.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to at least split here. You lose 2 games, and it's not going to be over. You're still got the wild card, which, I mean, the O's keep playing.
You got 3 wild cards.
Yeah, you got an extra one here, so obviously they want to win, and it would be great if you could win 2 here, but a split would be what you want at the least, but this will be fun to watch. Give you, like I said, it'll give you an idea. I think the next 6 weeks is really will give you an idea of what possibly they want to do in the trade market or whatever. But these games, I mean, this is good. They got confidence anyway.
Yeah.
They know they got a good team. They believe in themselves, and they've been in just about all the games they played. And they're always they always find a way to come back. Maybe not all the way, but they're never out of a game, and that's so important. That they believe that, and that's so important.
In addition to my power rankings, weekly power rankings, where I have the Orioles number 5 just behind Arizona, I also wrote a column adjacent to that on Aaron Hicks. And Ross, I don't know how much you saw of Aaron Hicks the last couple of years. It was all injuries, because before that he warranted a 7-year, $70 million contract from the New York Yankees. The injuries ripped him apart for 3 years. So much so that when the Yankees had him healthy, they preferred to play him in left field and move Judge into center last year while they waited for Harrison Bader. I got to be honest with you. The Aaron Hicks I'm seeing right now, defensively only, I think is a better center fielder than Cedric Mullins when you factor in arm strength. Your thoughts on that? And I want to get Luke's opinion too.
Yeah, no, he's he being hurt like he was, I think they lost confidence in it, and plus, playing in New York and getting
the fans and the media. Yeah.
That's a tough place to play. I don't care who you are, and just getting constantly bombarded every day. Going there to play is one thing, you're going to get that, but as you're home, you don't want to be, lambasted at home, and that's exactly what
I said to Luke. I said to Luke, in Yankee Stadium, he's got about 25 reporters all over him on failure. And in Baltimore, he's got Rich Dubroff and Rock Kabatko.
Yeah, right. That makes a little bit, that's always good.
It's a lot different,
But him coming in here and doing what he's doing, that kind of gives, keeps him, in the games, and you don't have to bring up some of your younger guys. Cowser and
Westberg,
Herstack,
Westberg.
Yeah, those guys. There's no hurry for those guys, And like I said, the next 6 weeks will kind of tell you that. But he has been really a blessing that's saved, especially when Mullins is down, Mountcastle is down. What you got, McCann, a couple pitchers that are down.
Yep.
He's going to help out. He's going to help out.
Luke, you and I talk all the time about the fact what a good at bat he gets. I mean, he routinely, it's nothing for him to get the opposing pitcher to throw 7 to 10 pitches.
Oh yeah, that's huge, and that fits what Brandon Hyde wants out of his lineup, right? And that's what Adley gives you. That's what Santander gives you. And so to add another bat like that is big. But what we're seeing right now is what Hicks provided his first couple of years in New York, and what he looked like a little bit in Minnesota, and what persuaded and motivated New York to give him that contract. what we're seeing right now. And I don't know how long this is going to last, but like baseball people say, let it ride. And you let it ride. Mullins is going to have a rehab outing, weather pending, in Nashville with the Tides today. And so he's on the comeback trail.
Okay.
I don't know what Mullins' timetable is. I don't know if it's the kind of situation where, if he has, 4 really good at bats today and 4 tomorrow, that he's in there on Friday. I don't know. In terms of what Hicks' role will be when Mullins comes back, I do believe that Mullins will just take center field back over. I see no reason why that wouldn't be the case. But I think Hicks can give Mullins a day off in center. I think Brandon will be a lot more comfortable doing that now that he has Hicks, whereas before really his plan B was McKenna. And so I think he'll be a little more comfortable with that. And I think you could play Hicks in left and get Hayes off his feet. And Hicks certainly has the range to cover left field at Camden
Or
Yards.
you can play Santander at first.
Exactly, and have Hicks in right field. So I think Hicks gives him
probably Hayes. I think probably Hayes in right. I don't think Hicks has ever played any right field before.
And so, but yeah, to your point, I think there will be some versatility there that Brandon didn't necessarily have prior to Hicks's arrival. And so right now it's kind of found money.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Orioles thought they were going to get out of Aaron Hicks. They're very fortunate that when Mullins got hurt, Hicks was available. And Hicks was fortunate too. The Orioles had a spot for him because it seemed like he has fit in seamlessly with this coaching staff and in this lineup.
All right. What about Luke? Just following up. I know the easiest thing for manager Brandon Hyde to do is insert Mullins right back in center field. But you and I talk all the time about Mullins' arm.
Right.
He'd be actually a better left fielder with that arm. It wouldn't hurt you as much as it can in center field.
I think they love Mullins' range in center field. And, he's got more range than Hicks. He gets better breaks on the ball than Hicks. And so I think that's what they're going to prioritize. And I don't think they're going to upset the apple cart. It's definitely a potential upset the apple cart. Yeah, and move Mullins to left. And in Camden Yards left field, you need a good arm because you're playing pretty deep now. So, and I really like Hayes there. I know the defensive metrics don't love Hayes in left, but I think part of that might just be there's an adjustment period to figure out the metrics in the new left field at Camden Yards. It's a big left field. And so, I mean,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
To my naked eye, it seems like he plays pretty well out there. I don't know. But you guys know how baseball works. Like, once Mullins is ready to go, maybe another outfielder goes down. It's just, has to be the way baseball works. So we'll see.
Well, you got
to be careful with his growing as well.
Yeah,
right. That's a great point that he might not necessarily play in the field every single day, when he comes back, and they might ease him into and an easy way to do that would be to spell him against left-handers sometimes,
or DH him a game a week. Okay, Ross, you've been around teams before. You coached in the Giant organization for a long time. You played for 2 winning organizations. The dam at the minor league level at AAA, everybody's asking, when are they going to bring this guy up? Cowser. When are they bringing Westberg up? When are they bringing Grayson up? Mike Elias has in my opinion, like a tough needle to thread there with the proper balance between trying to win now and develop players at the major league level. And that's why I thought Hicks was picked up and why he was a perfect pickup for this team. It keeps you from putting Colton Cowser right into a pennant race, and especially while Mullins was hurt, right when you were sort of desperate for somebody to give you a shot in the arm.
Right. You got to understand, I think the fans need to understand that jump from AA, AAA, AAA now too is a huge jump. And they're getting a lot of information, obviously, from the staff at the different AAA, AA on their players. The scouts go in to see them. Your different coordinators and what have you go in, and they've taken all of this into consideration before they make a move. Now, they don't have to do it. They got a pretty good group of guys. They got, they're playing well. They're binding really well. And not to say that anybody comes up couldn't help out, but they don't have to do it right now. They don't have to do it because they're winning. They're playing well. Why change anything? But like I said, you're getting a lot of different information about guys. Grayson Rodriguez, I was looking at his numbers. I think he's walked 20. He averages a walk every other inning. Then that's one of the things that his command overall is. We saw it. He's got above average stuff. His command is not really as good as you would like it to be. Obviously, those numbers say that. He making pitches in situations when you do it, and they're going to really pay attention to that down there. And your numbers are one thing, but how you do certain things, how you handle certain situations, the pitches you make. Same with the hitters. They take a lot of that into consideration, and I've seen so many guys go to the big leagues that have done really well at the AAA, AA level that fall flat on their face for whatever reason. So they got to make sure these guys are ready when they get there. They're ready to be able to handle stuff, and that's their job. It's stuff that the fans that we don't see, that they know what's going on to make those kind of decisions.
This is the baseball Zoom. We normally do it every Monday. If you're watching it today, it's Tuesday. We had to alter everybody's schedule to fit something I had a conflict with. We're going to continue with a look at the trade deadline, which ain't that far away, in just a minute. But first, I got to tell you about the Costas Inn. Costas Inn, located 4100 North Point Boulevard. They've been there for over 50 years in the same location. Yeah, it's been renovated a couple times, and they do a summer redo where they fix everything up, clean everything up. But boy, are they mobbed and packed right now with people wanting to get their first round of steamed crabs for the season. And if you want them, they've got them, but you got to plan ahead and reserve your crabs. The days where you can go into any crab restaurant in Baltimore, in and around Baltimore, and just think you're going to walk in and get crabs, not so easy. 410-477-1975. Get what the options are and reserve your crabs for your first real crab vacation of the summer of 23. Luke Jackson, Ross Grimsley, I'm Stan the Fan. Thursday night, I've got Frank Remish of the new CFG Bank Arena. We'll talk to him about how life has changed down there, because he's been the general manager down there through a couple of iterations of the same building. But boy, has it been fixed up. Guys, the baseball trade deadline is looming. Luke, opinion, the third wild card team now, it means an awful lot of teams are in contention. Does that mean it's going to be harder than ever to make a deal because so many teams are in contention?
I think you're on the right track. I think you're absolutely on the right track. I think because, and you saw it last year with the Phillies, they won an 86 game. They got the last wild card and they made it all the way to the World Series, and they fell 2 wins short of winning a World Series, and they have a National League pennant to show for it. Yep. So I do think that and because the easy thing to say would be, oh, this team isn't going anywhere anyway. What are they going to do? Win 85 games? Well, 85 games, if you get hot at the right time, you might find yourself in the World Series. So I just think that the decisions on whether to buy or sell will come later than ever. I think for some teams, it might be like 48, 72 hours before the deadline, before they decide for sure that they're selling. I think so. I do think that a lot of the decisions will come late. And for that reason, it might be more difficult than ever to make a deal. Especially in the weeks leading up to the deadline. It might not be any more difficult to make a deal once you get to the deadline, but leading up to it in the weeks ahead, I think, yes, I think you're absolutely right.
Like 14 days ago, the Tigers seemed to be back in the race before they went through a really terrible stretch. So I think they would move Eduardo Rodriguez, and he'd be the perfect fit here. But there's a complication there too. A lot of players have these opt-outs,
right?
Where you're caught in a bind with how much you're willing to give up,
right?
For a player, because you really basically are only guaranteed the months of August and September.
Right. You're absolutely right. And it's hard once a player is heading toward that opt-out and free agency. It's hard to say, well, we'll sign you to extension. Typically they're going to go to free agency when they're that close. So yeah, that is a complication. Absolutely.
Ross, one player that's really kind of interesting out there, I wouldn't want him on my team any longer, is Aroldis Chapman. I thought he really quit. I thought he quit on his team last year.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a big guy on forgiving people, but that's a pretty unforgivable scene that he just basically said, hey, if you're not putting me on the roster for the first series, I'm out of here. Yeah. But he's going to be in demand, isn't he?
Oh, more than likely. I tell you that the next 6 weeks will decide some of these teams if they're going to buy or sell if they're out of it. What are the Mets going to do? They a perfect team. They're if they don't get on a streak, they might get rid of everybody.
Is San Diego?
Oakland's going to be a team that they're basically out of it. But a lot of these teams,
I don't know that too many people are going to want their players.
No, really. but those. I'm looking at the teams that are going to try to do something.
Well, how about you look at and this is an interesting topic that we mentioned before we went on the air, Ross. You got probably the two highest payrolls in baseball are the New York Mets and the San Diego Padres, and they are both pooping the bed. There's no question about it. Now, there are extenuating circumstances, especially with the Mets losing Edwin Diaz at near the end of spring training in the World Baseball Classic, where he jumped up to celebrate and fell and broke a patella bone or tendon, whatever it was he did.
Yeah.
But it says to me that sometimes the teams that have more intrinsic sort of an esprit de corps amongst the players, like the Orioles have this year, are far better than the teams that have the heavy loaded payroll.
Right. No, really. You look, the Dodgers, the Dodgers pitching is absolutely, I saw something today that they're going to go out and probably try to get pitching because their pitching is 25th in the league in baseball. So they're struggling with it.
I think Andrew Friedman had a terrible offseason this year.
I think Friedman might have been caught in between a little bit and because it seems clear that they were, holding off for a big Ohtani offer this coming offseason. But you have Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts in the prime of their careers. They're not going to be in the prime of their careers forever. I think you also owe it to them to push this year too. They didn't really do it.
Yeah, and it's not as if if they had gone out and gotten one more pitcher, like even re-signed the guy that went to the Angels, Tyler Anderson.
Right.
His name. They could have afforded that and still had money for Ohtani.
Right.
Yeah, they really had an awful offseason. But it's going to be quite interesting here with the payrolls of some of these teams and what happens at the trade deadline. Before we go today, we got these matchups tonight: Bradish versus Glasnow. I'm asking the pitching expert, Luke Jackson. What do you think of that? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Ross. Who you like in that one? Glasnow versus Bradish.
I'm a Glasnow fan, but Bradish has been, he's been very good at times. Just outstanding, as a lot of the Orioles starters have. But the way the Orioles are playing, like I said, they're never out of it. They do a lot of things right, in the offense, defense, running the bases, fielding. They do so many things well that, I look for it to be a low-scoring game, but, with those two guys going and the bullpens, I mean, this is going to be a good 2-game series.
Yeah, it is going to be a good 2-game series.
But I think the Orioles, I just think they have a chance of maybe winning both these games because they do so many things well. And when it comes time, Rushman comes up with the big hits, but then they do a lot of good. They do a lot of good things. The Orioles got, I think, a better bullpen.
Luke, we got Tyler Glasnow. He's pitched really, really well this season. Tonight at 6:40 on Mass, and tomorrow 12:10 we get Taj Bradley in the wrap up of this series. It's been interesting to watch Tampa Bay. They get these pitchers from other organizations like Jeffrey Springs, Glasnow. They turn them into stars. Well, McClanahan was one of their own, but they get Eflin. They effortlessly have turned him into a big time pitcher. But yet sometimes the guys that they bring up their own, Taj Bradley, one of them being a top 35 prospect in the top 100, he hasn't done so well.
Yeah, and it just goes to show for any team, whether it's the Orioles, the Rays, or the Rockies, the jump from AAA to the big leagues is a huge one.
Yeah.
And, going into this year, Taj Bradley was as well regarded as any pitching prospect in baseball. And it's been a little bit of a challenge for him at the big leagues. Not so much that, he can't work through it. And that this will be my first time getting a look at him throughout the entire start. So I'm looking forward to that. And in terms of tonight with Glasnow, he's, when he's on the mound and he's healthy, he's one of the best right-handers in the American League. There's no question about it.
All right. Those are the last words from Luke Jackson. I thank Luke, and I thank the old left-hander Ross Grimsley. We'll be back at our regular time next week at 6 o'clock on Mondays. I thank both of them for adjusting their schedules to match mine. Orioles tonight, Tuesday night, June the 20th at 6:40 on Mass. And again, Kyle Bradish against the great Tyler Glasnow when he's healthy. And then tomorrow at 12:10 p.m., it'll be Taj Bradley against the Orioles' number one pitcher, Tyler Wells. That does it for today. We thank our friends at AJ Michaels Heating, AC Plumbing, and Home Performance. And we also thank our regular sponsor, the Costas Inn. Again, 410-477-1975. Call to reserve your crabs for your first crab feast of the summer. That does it for today. I'll be back by myself Thursday night. Frank Remis, GM of the CFG Bank Arena, will join us then. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye.